Basic word problems. The structure of simple word problems. Many word problems can be solved using the relationship total amount equals the amount per unit times the number of units, or more simply, total equals rate times amount. These terms can be rearranged. The total over the rate equals the amount, or the total over the amount equals the rate. Let's talk about some specific examples. The total distance traveled equals the distance traveled per hour times the number of hours traveled. Well, the distance traveled per hour is your rate of speed. Hence, this is a long way of saying distance equals rate times time. The total cost is the cost per item times the number of items you buy. Your total wages is the money earned per hour times the number of hours. In fact, whenever you are given a rate and the word per indicates a rate, you can usually solve the problem using this format. As a side note, it's good to remember that when you're working mixture problems, a concentration is also a rate because it's usually the amount of solute per unit of solution, and there's that word per again, indicating a rate. Example 1. A student works for $7 per hour. If he earns $259 before taxes, how many hours did he work? The solution is the total wages earned divided by the hourly wages equals the hours worked. 259 divided by 7 equals 37 hours. Example 2. A house painter is painting a room with a length of 7 feet and a width of 9 feet. The walls are 8 feet high. If each can of paint costs $13.50 and coats 250 square feet, how much money will the painter spend on paint? Assume that he must buy whole cans of paint and disregard sales tax. The total square feet of surface area to be painted is equal to the sum of the surface areas of each of the 4 walls. The first wall is 9 by 8, which is 72. There's a wall opposite that, which will be the second wall, and it will also be 9 times 8, or 72 square feet. The third wall will be 7 by 8, which is 56 square feet. The fourth wall opposite the third wall will be 56 square feet also. Add up all those areas for a sum of 256 square feet. Since one can covers only 250 square feet, the painter must buy 2 whole cans. Because each can costs $13.50, 2 times $13.50 is $27. Here are some practice problems for you to try. Pause the DVD after each problem and try to work the problem yourself. When you have finished, come back for the answer. Practice problem 1. Carissa earns $15 per hour working as a math tutor. She wants to buy 5 CDs that cost $12 each. How many hours must she work to buy the CDs? Answer to practice problem 1. Carissa must work 4 hours. To buy 5 CDs at $12 apiece, she must earn 12 times 5 equals $60. To find out how many hours she must work, use the equation total earnings equals wages per hour times the number of hours. Her total wages were 60, wages per hour is 15, total number of hours is X. We have the equation 60 equals 15X. We divide both sides by 15 to solve for X. X equals 4. Bob worked 12 hours for $8 per hour, while Maria worked 10 hours for $9 per hour. How much more money did Bob earn than Maria? The answer to practice problem 2 is that Bob earned $6 more. When you see the phrase how much more or how many more, the wording is telling you to subtract. Bob's earnings were 12 times 8 equals 96. Maria's earnings were 10 times 9 equals 90. Subtracting gives us 96 minus 90 equals 6. Practice problem 3. Charlie bought 3 mice for his pet snake at $1.99 each and 2 bags of food for his mynah bird at $1.59 each. How much money did he spend on pet food? The answer to practice problem 3 is $9.15. The money spent on the mice was $1.99 times 3 equals $5.97. The money spent on bird food was $1.59 times 2 equals $3.18. The total money spent equals $9.15. Practice problem 4. Charlie decides to surprise his mom by painting her kitchen purple with black trim. The area to be painted is 1,250 square feet. Each can of paint covers 225 square feet. How many cans of paint must he buy to paint the entire kitchen? The answer to practice problem 4 is 6 whole cans. The total area to be painted is the area covered per can times the number of cans. We rearrange that equation. The total area painted divided by the area covered per can equals the number of cans. That's 1,250 divided by 225 is 5.555 and so on cans. Of course, that rounds up to 6. Practice problem 5. Charlie's mother screams when she sees the kitchen and insists that he paint it white. The kitchen still has 1,250 feet of wall surface, and each can of white paint covers 225 square feet. If each can of paint cost $10.99, how much does it cost him to paint the kitchen white? It costs $65.94 to paint the kitchen. Obviously, all we're doing there is multiplying $10.99 times 6 for an answer of $65.94. Practice problem 6. Jeff makes a rectangular pen for his pet snake. The pen has a length of 12 inches and a width of 16 inches. It has a height of 10 inches. The top and bottom are made of wood, while the 4 lateral sides are made of wire mesh. How many square inches of wire mesh must he buy? The total surface area of the 4 lateral sides is 560 square inches, and that's the amount of wire mesh he has to buy. 2 sides have measurements of 12 by 10. The area of each side is 120 square inches. Because there are 2 sides, the combined area is 240 square inches. 2 sides have measurements of 16 by 10 inches. Each of those sides has an area of 160 square inches. The combined area of the 2 sides with those measurements is 320 square inches. Added together, the total surface area is 240 plus 320 equals 560 square inches.